It is December 16th, 2019, Monday Night Raw, the fallout from TLC. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Matt Morgan and Raj Giri, here to discuss... Matt, how would you describe tonight's Raw? What adjective would you use?
Groundhog Day.
Yes, it felt like a repeat. I mean, can we just rerun an old podcast? We can cut and paste our views on some segments, save ourselves a whole bunch of time?
Just throw, who was it? Joey Mercury and, God dang it. Who was J&J security back in the day with Seth Rollins? Throw back to one of those episodes.
Jamie Noble.
Jamie Noble. I mean, and we have the same Seth Rollins. I'm happy to heel, though, but...
Yeah, I mean, I thought Rollins was the only thing interesting about this show. I thought the rest just was just boring. I mean, that gauntlet match felt like it was 3 hours long.
There was some good action in the gauntlet match, but yeah.
Sure. Although it was all for naught. I mean, there was no point to it, given the way that it ended, just to advance things with Humberto and Andrade further, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and when you have, I mean, there was actually a decent amount of good in-ring action tonight, but the crowd was dead for most of the show. And when you have a quiet crowd, it's just not exciting. Good in-ring action without, anything else that could that makes it great. So I don't know. It was one of those where I was just kind of like, because I thought Ricochet and Humberto, the action itself was awesome in that match, but after a while, I'm like, man, let's end this. You could hear a pin drop in the audience.
It, to me, felt like this was, if I was there live, this felt like a very good, fun house show. We got some surprises. We got some faces we haven't seen in a while. But let's just get into it. Go segment by segment.
And real quick, that they're taping next week's Raw right now after that. So that crowd is sitting through another, it's not going to be 3 hours because you won't have the commercials, but, at least 2.
Couldn't pay me.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, so we opened with Seth Rollins, Authors of Pain, video package from last week. Came out, and Seth's big thing, I was talking about the score that he had to settle, what he's going to do. He's not going to change. He's going to be who he is. AOP is going to enforce his will. If you resist him, he's going to be a leader. He's going to reshape Raw in his image. But first, he's got a score to settle. Who is it going to be? Kevin Owens still out after the beatdown he suffered last week. So this mystery tonight, I'll admit, I didn't predict it was going to be Ray. I thought that was, I guess, by deductive reasoning, maybe I should have saw it. But Matt, was that who you anticipated the payoff was going to be about Seth's unsettled score? No,
I definitely did not suspect that. I know Ray is doing the best he's done thus far. I just don't care about that feud. I'm being honest. Would I pay to watch that? I mean, Ray in his prime, yeah. But I'm not interested in this feud for what it's worth.
Yeah, and I think it's just a throwaway match for because next week is going to be quite possibly the lowest rated Raw, or one of them, because it's not going to be on Christmas. It's a couple nights before, but it's going to be a really bad rating for the show, one of the lowest ever. So they're just, next week is, if you look at the spoilers, they're on Wrestling Inc., it's pretty much a throwaway show.
Roger, are you here next Monday?
I am not. This is my last podcast of 2019.
Bastard. You lucky bastard. Matt, you're here Monday? Matt's thinking, do I want to show up for this?
What date is that?
The 23rd.
No, so yes, I leave for Hawaii on the 24th. So yes, I will be.
Wow. We got to do something fun next week, Matt, because Raw is going to be a big nothing burger. I mean, we gotta talk best of the year. I want to give people some reason to tune in.
They tune in no matter what crap episode they put on, but because their stuff is always better.
This feels really bad. I would rather pick a channel at random, each of us, and then we'll come on the podcast and talk about 3 hours of random TV that we watched. I think it'll be better than Raw next week.
And I don't understand something about Seth Rollins saying he wants to build the show in his image, and they'll enforce it. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? These are promos, these written promos that are scripted promos that probably sound great in a movie. I'm gonna, some like old school barbaric king you just took over, and he's gonna build this entire country or this entire island in his image. You will bow and kiss the ring or whatever the hell.
Yes.
What is he saying? Is he gonna make every wrestler wrestle like him, dress like? What does that mean in your image?
He is the visionary, according to him, and he will be the man that leads this brand and this industry into the next decade and beyond.
I'm with that. Yeah, he's freaking good too. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about it until you said it, but I thought it sounded cool when he said it, and then when you think about it, yeah, I guess it doesn't really make much sense.
Before, about a year or two ago, when WWE, the video games, introduced the promo mode where you hit the random button to say, like, the platitude, that's what Rollins' promos sound like to me. You could just, like, these are cut and paste sentences that you could just string together, and he's really saying nothing, but it sounds okay.
So the creative team takes these things from other shows and movies and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that being said, he's way more effective here than he was, 2 months ago.
He was really annoying as a face, though. So, I mean,
Right. Exactly.
I'm trying my best not to give them credit for turning him as heel
Yeah.
because it's better than the alternative.
But where's back in the day with Jim the Anvil Neidhart with his book of quotes, just pulling out random words with Brett, random quotes from history and stringing them together? We need like better material here. Watch some new movies, watch some TV, come up with something, just not these platitudes.
Or just let wrestlers, former wrestlers, run the freaking show like has been done for years and years and years in past that were always successful. This is where Hollywood writers suck. They've never made the connection to wrestlers and the talents, and letting these talents explore who they are and come up. We say 1,000 times a day on this damn show, right? Don't we? About just let these guys, rip and let them fly a little bit as far as their promos go.
I'm sorry. Rush.
Oh, I was going to say to that point, Matt, we were talking about Jake I was mentioning Jake the Snake, his promos on Macho Man when they did the angle with Elizabeth and, a personal feud compared to what they're doing with The Miz and, Bray Wyatt breaking into his house. And I went back last night and watched that promo, and I kind of fell in a rabbit hole of watching old Jake the Snake promos and Macho Man promos. Mm-hmm. Jake the Snake is out there. You could be utilizing him at the Performance Center to work with these guys on promos. But to your point, they're getting Hollywood script writers who don't,
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, they're getting like former daytime TV and reality producers.
Fine, but
they work in Hollywood.
Out of this genre, how's that, Glenn? Out of this genre, it doesn't work. They don't know what it's like to be a wrestler or a performer in this genre. And we've seen it time and time again. We witness it every wrestling.
Yeah. But you listen to those writers and they say Vince McMahon stomps on their ideas, sucks the life out of them.
And I'm sure there's some truth to that. It's also a really easy excuse that we all can say, oh, I can see that. Yeah, okay.
And Glenn, I think that's more for storylines too, because the promos are still written by the writers. Ultimately that's, I'm sure Vince does give them direction and stuff, but ultimately they're the ones that come up with what the wrestlers are saying.
But I'm just saying, it's not like they're hiring, Vince Gilligan from Breaking Bad or, the creative team behind The Office. I mean, these are people that come from lesser TV properties.
Yeah, like someone that worked at Conan for, 6 months.
If that.
Right. Yeah.
Former Temptation Island producers.
I don't want any of them. I want another Dusty Rhodes. I want, people... Bill Watt, whomever.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with Jake. That was exactly the point I was making with Jake Roberts. Hiring someone like that because he was so good, when Ted DiBiase, guys like that who are just amazing on the mic that could really, help these guys tap into these characters, tap into their finding their own voice and saying things that are different from what the other guys are saying and, stand out individually.
Like they need to go up to him and approach him literally the way I used to do it for my own promos. Was all right. What do you want to say here? How would you? We got to get to a pay-per-view. You versus this guy. 6 months from now, this is your first promo against him. He just jumped you last week. This is gonna be your first time talking on the subject. What do you want to do? How do you want to handle it? How do you want to communicate your frustration, anger, whatever you've got going in you? Knowing we got to get there 6 months from now. It's a 6-month storyline. How do you want to get there? And let the talent take over a little bit and throw it back to him, and then you have a Jake go back and forth with him a little bit, and then get them ready. And then once the show starts, they've got something together.
Yeah.
Matt, I think Seth could have done a really good anti-hero promo tonight, kind of bordering between heel and face, but coming out and being like, look, a year ago, the fans were told they were the authority. We used to have the authority in charge here. We don't have Kurt Angle as a general manager anymore. Brock Lesnar's the champ and he's gone. This place has gotten soft and sloppy. We got our asses kicked at Survivor Series. And if you don't get in line, like, we're going to destroy you.
Okay. I'll take that.
WWE, they've just been bad with booking tweeners, though. It's like if you're not all the way face, you're not all the way heel. You just you're kind of nothing. And Brock has been the only one to really pull it off.
Yeah, although with Brock, tonight, this is Brock Lesnar syndrome. This is what you get when your main champion isn't even in a storyline for the foreseeable future on the show.
It's not even mentioned. The title is not even mentioned.
I don't even.
For weeks.
Why does he need the title? I still don't get it.
We say this every year. I love Brock. In a lot of ways, he's my favorite wrestler as far as his matches, not knowing what's coming up, what to expect. It could be a 8-second squash. It could be a 20-minute back and forth. But yeah, him having that title, it just hijacks what should be your top storyline for months on end.
Yeah. So, the Viking Raiders versus the OC. Gallows Anderson out again facing the Viking Raiders after answering their open challenge last night at TLC. If you like that match, but you were upset with the outcome of the Viking Raiders winning last night, well, tonight the OC picked up a win. A non-title win, but a win nonetheless. So everybody's happy.
I was happy. I wish it was for the championship, but I was happy.
Yeah, it tells a good story, right? They're the only team that had beaten the Viking Raiders, done it twice. Viking Raiders haven't beaten them that I know of. Maybe they have on a throwaway match on Raw, but back to this storyline, it makes sense. I thought the ending was right. It went a little long, but I thought it was the right ending.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw this match last night.
They didn't need it last night. I don't know why they put it on that pay-per-view. They went like 2 minutes on the pay-per-view and did a double count-out. This was a lot more effective.
Oh, that's right. It was a double count-out last night. The KFC segment, which they mentioned again tonight, the classic KFC segment we'll be talking about for decades to come. After that, Samoa Joe jumped the gun and announced the OC were the new champions, but then had to correct himself that it was non-title. Mm-hmm. Eric Rowan versus Dante Leon. If you liked a local enhancement talent trying to get a peek in Eric Rowan's cage before only to get his ass kicked, well, you're in luck because we saw the same thing happen again this evening. Good.
I got no problem with this. This was short and sweet. Rowan's looks like a oh, Jesus Christ, I'm giving them names here. Rowan looks like a monster. I don't think that's bad business. I think that's smart business versus just having them doing nothing and forgotten about for 6 months. He comes back in a tag team with somebody new this time. We care about them. Probably not at all because it's going to be a corny gimmick and whatever it is.
Yeah. Do we ever find out what's in the cage?
Rinse and repeat. So I don't care about the cage. I care about him looking like a freak of nature and a beast demolishing people and building him to who they're going to either feed him to, or I'm hopeful that they get him over some sort of hump. I don't think they will, but I want to go along the journey to get there at least.
Yeah.
So,
is there any scenario where we are satisfied by what's in that cage?
I don't know because there's nothing that I'm going to care about. It's something. It's something. Okay, that's all that matters to me. At least it's something. And again, he's a big freak. He doesn't need this other stuff. He is the gimmick. His size, his beard, his look. That's the shtick. The cage is just stupid stuff.
What if they never reveal it?
That tickles Vince's fancy, obviously.
Yeah, what if they never reveal it? What if it's just always this mystery cage? And then finally, it's like the mystery GM where everyone's wondering, like, who is it going to be revealed to be? And I guess years later as a gag, they revealed it to be Hornswoggle. But at that time, they never did.
I shut my brain off to it, honestly. I really do, because there's not going to be a good payoff with it, right?
Yeah. When has there been a great payoff for something they've kept a mystery for a long time?
Never.
Not in the modern era. Heck, even back when I was a huge fan, you had the Gobbledygooker. So.
Chainsaw Charlie in a box.
Yes, mysteries, not really the WWE strong suit. After this match, where Eric Rowan won handily, we saw Andrade backstage with Zelina Vega, and they were throwing some shade at Humberto Carrillo, who was going to be in the Gauntlet match.
This was good.
Yeah.
I thought this was good use of her. This is what she's there for.
Yeah, she's awesome. And, I just hope they're not going to break her off from Andrade because she adds so much to that. And I just don't feel like they'll use Andrade well if they split him off.
Yeah.
Even though he's Mr. Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That worked so well for Becky and Seth. I think that Charlotte and Andrade would just be the kiss of death for both of them.
But we don't want to see it happen. I'm just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
She did leave. You don't think politically that being with Charlotte does anything or no?
I don't think she has that kind of pull where she can, she can affect. Like, it's not like Cena and Nikki Bella.
Gotcha.
But.
Oh, here we go. Bobby and Lana celebrating tonight. Celebrating.
This was go ahead. Sorry. Finish what happened.
Okay, so they're celebrating Bobby's victory over Rusev last night, and for a second, Lana was going on and on, actually sounding like Leo Rush. It was like Leo Rush's old lines about how great Bobby is, but then saying that she wanted Bobby to ask her to marry him. Bobby went with a "nobody tells me what to do," and for a second I thought, oh, this is CM Punk's storyline. It's actually happening, what he pitched. But no, he said, nobody tells me what to do except you. And then he proposed to her right then and there. Rusev didn't show up. I mean, sure, this got heat. This will probably do great on YouTube. Matt, what did you think of this segment?
What you said.
Yeah.
I was hoping he was going to turn on her a little bit there, and they did a decent job, right? For like half a second of making us think. I thought like he was going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing, and thanks to Dom Alvarez for the donation earlier and Zachary Showalter. But yeah. It seems like they're heading for a wedding angle. My guess is it's going to be on that January 6th episode of Raw. It's the first one with the playoffs over. I mean, not with the Monday Night Football over, football season over. The regular season as we're going to the playoffs. They always like to throw the big stuff out. So we're going to the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, I'm guessing they'll do a wedding on Raw. So. There we go. Those always do big ratings. As dumb as they've been in the past. Whether it's Teddy Long and Crystal Marshall or whoever, they've always done big ratings.
Yep.
This isn't a great love story to where, this is going to be a storybook wedding. This is a great payoff. I liked Bobby's reluctance, Matt, like you were saying, for like a split second. I was interested. I wanted to know if Bobby had issues. Maybe he's a child of divorce, so he never saw himself getting married because he never wants to be put in that situation. I thought there was going to be some shade, some depth, and then quickly that hope went up in smoke.
Well, here's my question. Did I miss something? How was Lana able to get married?
Oh, they got divorced on TV a few weeks ago.
You remember that?
Yeah. Has it been finalized? Doesn't that stuff have to be finalized?
Kayfabe, dude. Just
once you sign that paper on Raw, that's all it takes.
Because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm a very happily married man, so I've never had to really think about these things, right? But I'm like, wait a minute, do I not even know the rules anymore? What is this really? Wait, they just did this like a week ago. They got divorced or something like that. I kept wanting to think.
Yeah.
Things move fast.
Wrestling, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to happen. Gauntlet match to determine the new number one contender to the United States Championship. R-Truth. When's the last time R-Truth got to do the complete What's Up song with his entrance?
How about nobody knowing it anymore? No, I'm joking.
Well, we know it to a point, but normally gets like the la-di-da-di part is normally where they cut him off.
It seemed like they were trying to kill a lot of time here, so why not have R-Truth go and do his full song?
Why not? Because I can think of 34 other superstars on that roster that I would have liked to have seen. And one of our fans just put it up there. He put hashtag the guy who donated, hashtag justice for EC3. I agree. Yeah. EC3 is a star. I don't know what they're doing with him.
Yeah, he is injured right now, but they weren't doing anything before he got injured, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the 24/7 title has been MIA for the most part. It's almost a non-factor now.
They didn't even show on Raw R-Truth regaining it from Kyle Busch.
I don't know. It's you let down. You let down by that, Raj. It's been a letdown the entire time.
It was fun for a month.
What's his name having it? Come on,
Drake Maverick.
Thank you, Drake Maverick. I want to say Spud. You know what I mean? There's some entertaining stuff he put online and stuff like that. That was kind of funny, right? I dug that part. That was it. Ever since then, I was like, I don't want nothing to do. I don't want to see any of this crap.
I don't know. I'm with KMU94. R-Truth had me interested as well. I was kind of hoping he was going to run the gauntlet tonight. That would have been like a nice. It's been a while since he got a real showcase. Him versus Ray would have been cool. But I mean, I would have taken that over the way this all ended. Akira Tozawa came out and they went back and forth for a little bit before he pinned R-Truth. Then Matt Hardy came out and went at it with Akira Tozawa. Then Ricochet came out. And Ricochet came out, then Matt Hardy. I forget the exact order, but the long and the short is we got to Humberto Carrillo and Andrade. When Andrade came in, he just beat the crap out of Humberto, attacked him from behind, and Humberto ended up getting stretchered out of the arena.
Well, he took him outside of the ring, exposed, lifted up the mats, exposed this part of the concrete, and then gave him this like DDT. It was like a paradigm shift on the concrete, and I mean, it's a dangerous spot. I mean, Matt, when you see something like that, I mean, how much room for error do you have on a move like that on the concrete?
Not much, really, not much at all. But try to take a knee on the way down if it's like a DDT. But some guys take that really nice, like RVD spiking. It looks like they spike their head, and it's tough on concrete because you take a DDT, you're supposed to. This is why I hate this camera in my eye. I'm gonna. You're supposed to put your arms here as you take a DDT, and these hit the mat. And those hit the mat and brace your back. Your neck and your head. How the hell do you do that on concrete? You freaking kill your arms. That's how.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the guys that take it quick, you don't really see it. There's not much room for error on that.
Yeah, you can see he took it safely, and but you mess up a little bit, and that could be really bad.
Let's use to knock people out. Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sound like an old school wrestling freaking pundit again, but like, how does that knock somebody the hell out? Like, you know what I mean? Now everybody gets from this kind of crap.
Well, let's talk about that, Matt. You have this perspective. Let's talk best and worst surfaces to bump on. I would assume the in-ring is the best and concrete is the worst.
Definitely, but that mat hurts too. I mean, your body just gets used to it after a while. Like a guy who karate chops through wood or brick, it's because their hand is so callous. Wrestlers' backs or necks eventually become calcified and callous enough to absorb flat back bumping. That's why you want to flat back perfectly, but it doesn't happen that way in the heat of the moment.
So, would you rather take a top rope suplex through a table on the mat, or just directly on the mat?
Because of my weight, I wouldn't mind the table, I think.
Because it breaks it a little bit?
Slightly. Slightly. You can still get cut up from that table, keep that in mind, but it's a cut. Yeah, but not most people. Most people would say just a normal ring, obviously. They'd have to be slammed hard through that table. But coming off the top, like you said, and like a superplex or whatever, it'd be easy to break that.
Yeah.
What about something like the quote-unquote steel steps that are hollow? Does that have more give?
That just kills. I don't know how these guys have gotten better and better over the years taking that.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see them throw their shoulder, like Cena always took it very awkwardly.
Yeah.
I don't know how he was separated. He has huge shoulders.
And then lastly, what about the padding on the outside of the ring? Is that a better or worse surface?
It doesn't.
Those are like wrestling mats at the gym, right? They still hurt.
Exactly, same thing. Yep.
Well, there you have it. So if you ever wonder, folks, it all hurts.
And to their credit here with this angle with Carrillo, they did have him get knocked out with that, with the DDT. Yeah. And they did the stretcher job and everything. It reminded me a lot of when they did this way back in the day with Ricky Steamboat and Jake the Snake.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Last one, the announce table. JJB Gaming's asking because that breaks apart flat.
Or What was it?
Or the regular tables like that
Yeah.
are under the ring.
But the announce table doesn't. You don't break
Announce
it.
table kills.
Yeah. Really?
Oh my god, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
But WWE they changed them, right?
Yeah, it's different now than what it was when I was there.
Yeah, because they used to have like real sturdy tables back in the day.
They did, but like when I put Big Show through it, it was gimmicked. I remember. And then when he put me through it, they had to gimmick it. If there was a spot in the show on SmackDown that night, for somebody to go calls that somebody have to go through the announce table, they would come out before the show and they set it all up and gimmick it, just for it to break away a little bit easier.
Right.
Yeah.
But not like today. Today it's like literally set up. Fuck people taking bumps on it now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Why not protect your wrestlers as much as you could? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And someone's asking also about the ramp.
That's not good either. So the mat is easy. I don't want to call it the easiest because it underscore. It kind of undermines how much it does really hurt getting bumps in the ring. But the ring would be the easiest of the list you guys gave me. But then I would say the table would be next. The announce table would be next. The ramp would be next, and then concrete would be dead last.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
What do they use when they do those spots off the ramp? I mean, it looks like maybe it's like cardboard boxes covered with a black sheet or something.
Plywood sometimes, and
Yeah.
very, very thin, wood with pads underneath there.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps. So speaking of which, that superplex spot tonight with Umberto and Ricochet was awesome.
It was.
But aside from that, this attack just made it feel like, man, this gauntlet match.
Yeah, there's no winner after all that.
Yeah. After that, Seth came out with AOP, and he wanted to give Rey Mysterio his pipe back.
Well, Ray came down first.
That's right.
Ray came out after the attack on Humberto to kind of confront Andrade. Andrade took off, and then Seth came out with AOP.
Gave him his pipe back, beat him up a bit, curb stomped him, and Ray is going to face Seth for a title match for the United States Championship on next Monday's Raw, which they're taping tonight. So,
which is actually, I think it's done because tonight's show is actually on an hour delay. So everything we're watching had happened an hour earlier. They started it early, and yeah.
Huh. So what was the stip? What's the stip of Ray versus Seth?
Yeah, just for the title, the U.S. title.
Now I want to see what happens. Wrestling Inc. has the spoilers. I won't say it, though, to save everybody.
Wait, for the U.S. title? Did I miss something?
Yeah, remember Mysterio won it from AJ a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. I forget, too. Just with the titles in general, they don't do
Seriously, that's bad.
Unless, like, Becky is the only one I could, like without thinking, name it. Everyone else, I have to, like, stop and really think about it.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I forgot Brock Wood's the champion.
I forgot. Yeah, you forget the Universal title is a thing.
Yes. No results yet on that match because I guess they're still taping it. Asuka versus Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna from NXT making her first appearance on Raw tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She got a little offense in, but Asuka got the win.
It's not a good sign when they bring you in just to beat you right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Normally, formula, yes.
This wasn't a call-up, though.
Yeah, I don't think this was like her big ta-da. Here she is. Hopefully,
yeah. Because they were talking about her like, not like she was just some local talent. They were talking, like everyone should know who she is and mentioning she's from NXT. So we'll see.
We'll see how that develops. The storyline here, though, is obviously with, Kyrie all messed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You still need to cash in, so to speak, on Asuka.
Yeah, and Asuka looked good. It was so stupid. Remember a couple months ago they beat Asuka and Natalya submitted Asuka when we kind of knew they were headed in this direction with her feuding with Becky. But regardless, I think if you forget about that completely, they're doing a good job with it here.
Yeah, they're giving Asuka her mojo back and making her seem like the only logical opponent for Becky. So Becky did an interview with Charlie Caruso after, and was talking about that she's lost to Asuka. And Becky needs to prove something to herself. I like how Becky talked about how she's been misused and that the company's protecting her because she's the moneymaker in the draw. I thought that was a nice way to sort of explain some of the bad booking and underutilization she's had in recent months.
Well, I didn't understand the part about protecting her, though. What do you mean?
I mean, she said that. She said that she felt that the powers that be were trying to bury her, but said it's worse. They're actually trying to protect her. And I think maybe she was referring to the feud with Lacey Evans. I mean, she hasn't had a lot of meaningful...
Well, she mentioned the tag team, like being in a tag team feud. And like, so her title wasn't on the line. She's not in a singles feud. She's in a tag team feud.
Oh, that makes sense then. Yeah.
And she kind of cut a similar promo earlier this summer where she was talking about getting complacent and, kind of getting used to being the champ. And it's kind of similar, but I thought it was really good. It made sense. I wish they would have talked more about Asuka submitting Becky the last time they wrestled each other at the Royal Rumble. I think she mentioned the Rumble, but not, went too far into it. But Asuka, had submitted her. That was their last pay-per-view singles match. So... they still got time to build it up because I'm assuming this will take place at the Rumble. 1 year earlier, Asuka beat Becky. Now, Becky gets to avenge that loss. So it's a good story if they tell it right.
It is. And Asuka is a hell of an opponent for her. Mm-hmm. So believable.
And Kairi, yeah, absolutely. And Kairi, we don't know she suffered a concussion, she is out of action. She was evaluated after last night's match after TLC. It's not known, and WWE keeps concussions really quiet. So if you suffer a concussion, chances are you're just missing from TV until you're cleared, and they don't say anything as opposed to other injuries. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like a concussion to me watching it, but she has not been cleared as of tonight. She was not cleared for tonight, and we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think the Rumble makes sense. Don't want to spoil what happens next week, but this match ain't happening next week. I'll say that much. Let's talk about the Liv Morgan vignette.
Oh yeah.
Liv in a bathtub, Liv surrounded by candles, talking about she's tired of being who people tell her to be, and she's got to break herself down to become her true self.
Okay, I'm interested. Let's see what it is.
Yeah. This is all going to be dependent on the outcome. I'm saving my opinion for how this turns out.
Yes. Because this doesn't count. This was just like a misdirection, just if you will. This is not going to be what she is. Chick randomly in a freaking bathtub, obviously. It's going to be,
Yeah.
Hopefully they go all in with her. You know what I mean? Because she has something.
I agree. Randy Orton versus AJ Styles tonight. So AJ is really building this up, that he was going to end Randy's career in this match tonight. This match went on so long that they actually cut it on USA and then brought the feed back after they went to their next scheduled program. Was there a delay or something? I know it was on an hour delay, Raj, but how with an hour delay did they still not hit the mark? How did this go over time? Yeah,
it seemed like there was a timing issue there because they did go off the air briefly, and then they came back to it. So, yeah, it looks like they goofed up on the timing. Quick correction from earlier: the next Monday Night Football game, when I was talking about when they do the wedding angle, the week after the season's over, it's next week is the last week of Monday Night Football. So, the week after that would be the 30th when they do that.
Oh my God! Thank you, Raj, because I don't know what I was going to do with the rest of my week without knowing this pertinent information.
Well, now you know to check it out on the 30th, right?
Oh, Matt, I meant to mention, what did you make of Samoa Joe and Jerry Lawler having an extended conversation about Umberto's dimples and how cute he is?
I got nothing.
Jerry Lawler said he looked like he talked about a baby face and said how he looked like a baby face. And I was just thinking, I don't think I've ever heard the word baby face on WWE commentary, ever. And I have a good memory with this kind of stuff, and I can't remember ever. I feel like I've heard heel before, but never baby face. Mm-hmm. If anyone in the chat can think of a time on and when I'm saying WWE television, I'm not talking about the YouTube shows. I'm talking about Raw or SmackDown. Or Saturday night's main event or anything like that. Let me know.
But watch, they're going to give you the answer from their internet shows.
Right.
Everything you just specifically said. Not
yeah. Yeah, it's
Maybe-
the Hardy Halloween special.
The answers you're going to be getting.
Jesse Ventura back in 1993 on commentary. Yeah.
Well,
Next,
Ventura wouldn't do that. The old school guys would never do that, I wouldn't think.
No, maybe as a joke because they would assume no one would know what they were talking about at the time.
no.
They were so protective of that lingo and everything.
Okay, so Randy Orton won this match. This is a pretty good match between Randy and AJ, but after Gallows and Anderson came out, beat Randy Orton down, out came the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Viking Raiders, to make the save. Oh, the feud we could potentially have with AJ and the OC versus Randy and the Viking Raiders.
Ugh.
I hope
No.
they give him a cool hat.
But
Maybe like the Thor helmet or something, just and he could have that in like the
see
big
my
hammer.
point? Do you see my point? Then imagine if they had. I'm beside myself, obviously. Can you imagine if Randy had to come out to the ring with them? Like, come on!
They'll have a trios entrance.
You talk about the epitome of getting it on you. That's what this is. Anything they touch becomes silly.
And this is clearly building up to a 6-man tag. Matt, what would you think if Orton did come out with the helmet and the face paint with them?
Wait, but here's the kicker, man. He comes out with the Thor hammer and he holds it up, and then on the screen, lightning strikes the hammer.
Oh man,
I don't know. I don't know. I feel terrible for him. No, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Like
Orton's got enough cool, cred to that it wouldn't hurt him, but if Humberto Carrillo or something like that, it would just kill him.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, but here's the weirdest part about all this is, man, Randy and the Revival made so much sense. They fit together perfectly.
Yes, they did.
The Revival felt like bigger stars when they were with him. It could have helped bring him to the next level, and it was just dropped quickly. It reminds me of what they're doing right now with Corbin and Ziggler and Revival. It's like something it's just a shortcut for them to have a bunch of guys beating on Roman, but there's no real plan.
Yep.
It's a shame.
It is.
Yeah, I don't get it. We'll see what happens. I'm reading some of these matches for next week. This is, this is going to be something. Okay.
Don't ruin it. What's next? Stop reading.
That was it. No, that was it. That's all that happened tonight. And then USA showed the preview of the new show, Dare Me, that was like 2 minutes long. And I was like, I feel cheated. Curious about that show.
Don't tell me what happened.
Letter grade Matt.
Again, this is why it feels like Groundhog Day. WWE for me, every Raw has been in the neighborhood of C- on the bad ones, C+ on the versions. You know what I mean? I think I've given them a B- like maybe once this entire year.
I give it an M for watch The Mandalorian instead. The better use of your time.
It is a much better use of your time.
I'm almost going to go D+ on this. It just felt boring, long. There was like hardly anything I found interesting on tonight's show.
I mean, you guys, really quick, what about like the gauntlet match, right? I had decent hopes of that because I was like, they're positioning us toward the end of the show. That's good, right?
Yeah.
And these are new, fresh stars, right? Supposedly. So Humberto's in the mix. Our guy, what's his name? God, my memory's getting worse, guys.
Ricochet?
Ricochet's in it. Guys that we like to watch.
They've done a number on Ricochet. They've heard him a lot over the past.
You think they've heard him now? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just listen to the crowd reaction he gets now. It was pretty quiet. The whole time he was there, and when he pinned Matt Hardy, when he eliminated Hardy, the fans booed. And granted, they love Matt Hardy, but still, if Ricochet was really that over with this crowd, they wouldn't. So,
yeah, They should have paid attention to that. Actually, they're trying to get this guy. They're trying to get him over or not. If they are, why would you put him in a predicament where he's got to pin Matt Hardy?
Right.
One of the all-time fan favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Why do that? Somebody wrote, Ali Love 11G wrote, that's a very long name. I feel like we need better storylines in general, or just utilize the talent we have better. What's this we business, Ali Love?
She's right. She's absolutely right, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, they're not. And I still, guys, the one thing this company's not changed is their formula. The only thing they've not moved around or shifted around has been the creative. They've done everything else. Think about it. The presentation of the show, somewhat. Many wrestling stars in and out. Richard Minn's good one. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, that's the one thing they haven't tried yet, you guys. They've not tried to do something completely different with that department, their writing department.
And they're so stuck in this formula that they've been using over and over and over for 20 years. It's just, they need something to break out of it.
So, fans at home, remember when there's other companies on, support them. The better they do, eventually, maybe, fingers crossed, it pushes WWE into having to change their damn game plan and maybe get away from certain things that they wouldn't have been pushed to get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, look what they're doing with with NXT this Wednesday. They're going commercial free, throwing the title match up, at the beginning. They're trying, doing the overrun, all these little tricks to get a leg up. Imagine if Dynamite was on Monday nights against Raw. I think you would see a lot more effort being put in.
If AEW was hitting bigger, let's say like a 2, maybe even a 3, I'm telling you, it wouldn't be NXT just having to do this. They'd be doing the same thing with Raw and SmackDown as well. I think they'd have to. They'd start to get pushed a lot more. And they've already, let's be fair, WWE has been pushed a little. They have changed a little bit with NXT stuff, with competition. But we need even more. So fans, I know we get frustrated and upset when there's not a great episode of Dynamite, or you think Ring of Honor sucks now, or Impact or whatnot. Still, whenever you get an opportunity probably to speak about it, always put them all over, just so it seems better than it really is. Eventually get more people to watch. I don't know. That's why I try not to bury the other products as much.
Or the XFL becomes a huge success that Vince just decides to devote all his time to it.
That's the way, man. That'd be great.
And then you put Triple H, because Triple H, he cares about storylines making sense and booking that makes sense.
Right? I think he'd be great.
I think he could be, yeah.
I mean, he's NXT, correct?
Yeah, the only thing that's lacking in NXT is the strong promos and entertaining promos. The stuff like, because there's a balance. There's the silly stuff that you get a lot in WWE, but then there's the stuff like that Jericho does or Moxley does, where it's not just, it's entertaining. And I feel like they need more of that on NXT. They don't really have that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, NXT is going to be awesome Wednesday. NXT is the top WWE brand, followed by SmackDown distantly, and then way in the distance is Raw, the third brand.
Even though in interest, it's the reverse.
Don't care.
By far.
What'd you say?
In terms of actual interest, it's reverse. Like most people online, and the show that gets the most reaction, tweets, all that stuff is Raw, followed by SmackDown, and then NXT is a distant third. And then in terms of television ratings, it's SmackDown, then Raw.
Alonzo Smith is asking when John Morrison's going to return. He was on the bump last week. This is a weird freaking way they're bringing him back.
It's again, like, why not have him as a surprise on NXT as opposed to introducing him on the bump? This internet show that no one watches. It's just, you have a recognizable face that hasn't been on your TV for a while, and there's very few of those left. To bring him back and just blow his surprise return, his return on social media as opposed to a big angle, it's just such a waste.
I agree.
But he is training at the Performance Center. I'm guessing Royal Rumble. We'll see him.
I have to say, if he would have been the one at TLC to save The Miz, I might have popped harder for that than Daniel Bryan. Just for the continuity nod. Anyhow, we'll see what happens. What else is going on in the world of wrestling, Rush?
So Vince McMahon, Triple H, both of them weren't at the TLC pay-per-view last night. For a pay-per-view, that's like the first time I can think that neither of them were there.
Why?
Yeah, so it's not known, but they were, on the phone, going over it. My guess is Vince is, got to be getting pretty swamped with the XFL launching in a couple months. And so I'm sure Triple H is, handling a lot more duties. But yeah, neither of them were there last night. And I think there was some regret to how the Asuka Becky Lynch stuff was. I mean, I'm sorry, the Kairi Sane stuff was handled last night, and yeah, I feel there's some blame going around on the referee for not communicating to the back that Kairi was hurt, how bad it was. So, anywho, that's I think they're going to be more mindful of that going forward. One more thing, Primo Cologne. We were talking about drug test failures yesterday, and wellness policy failure. So Primo did an interview, and he said that he was suspended not because he tested positive for a prohibited substance, but because he didn't travel back to the U.S. from Puerto Rico to take the test that WWE required. So apparently, he was flagged for the drug testing. He wanted to take it in Puerto Rico, and assumed that they were going to, set it up for him to be able to take it there. And he said he found out, this happened a couple months ago, and then he got a letter saying that he was suspended because he refused to take the test. So he was not upset with how that all went down. But
well, I mean, here's the thing: they had to have made an airplane ticket for him and sent it.
They weren't, and so that's what he was saying. He was saying that. They do their doping tests at events. I'll just read what he said. Sometimes someone appears to collect the urine of fighters, employees, referees to do their evaluation once a month. I was in Puerto Rico. He didn't hear from the company, and he thought they were going to call him when they found a place to take the test. 2 months passed. He gets the letter that he's suspended because, according to them, he refused to take the test. And they took it as he was out of the country, but he was available. And, yeah, they were not paying for him to fly him back to take the test. So
So he's supposed to spend money out of his own pocket to go and take it?
Yeah.
That's weird.
And he said, I was not going to pay for a trip just to get tested for doping.
Yeah.
I guess if you're under contract and that's what they're saying, but... Jeez.
I'll be honest. I'm not calling him a liar or anything. I just don't see the company making one of these superstars pay out of their own pocket to fly in and take a test. I don't know.
But also, why is it so important that they wellness test talent that's not even actively performing in the company? I mean, maybe that seems like a naive question to ask.
Why? That's when you're going to use probably the most. You're depressed. You're not on TV. You're going to turn to alcohol, pills.
That's what
happened.
They got paged twice on that. Remember during that one period.
Boredom is a wrestler's enemy. Remember that.
Yeah.
Boredom and not being booked is a wrestler.
I know you're right. I guess from the addiction point of view, it makes sense. I was thinking like performance enhancement.
Because they're going to think they're going to get big and jacked. Being sleeping over in their weight room and trying to take their career. I don't know.
Well, you remember back in the 90s, anytime a wrestler was injured and then they came back, they were like jacked to the gills and like way bigger than they ever were. So
also, having access to healthy food in a damn gym 5 days a week versus being on the road and maybe not lifting till 1 in the morning and maybe getting 2 or 3 meals in you at most and getting the crap kicked out of you at nighttime for the show and no sleep, that kills your body, dude.
Yeah.
I would have thought there would have been a time Vince McMahon would have respected the initiative of someone that used that downtime to get that jacked.
Definitely.
He does.
Oh, definitely does. Yes.
They would get pushed when they come back looking all jacked.
Yes. Look at what's his name? Our boy.
Jinder. Yeah.
Well, although with time away.
But Jinder not perform. I'm saying Vince performance enhancement or not. Vince.
I thought you meant just
yes. Vince would be like, that's showing initiative. The rules clearly don't apply to you. You're a superstar. I'm going to push you to the moon. Once upon a time, perhaps.
Only the super duper stars, I think he would.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Man, that's about it. I think we're going to have to call it early. There's not much else that we didn't cover yesterday.
Folks, if you missed Raw, guess what? You didn't miss anything. This podcast, as usual, was better than Raw, and I think we would outrate them. I think we need to go to a competing network, Raj. We need to take a step up. Take our act onto TV, I think, next.
Yeah. real quick, as the year is coming up, we appreciate all the support that you guys have given us. The numbers have gone through the roof here on YouTube. We're starting to, put it on Facebook Live and Periscope, but right now YouTube is, where we got the active chat and everything, and also on the website. But if you guys could take a second and go to iTunes, find our podcast, and leave us a review and rate us, that does help us out a lot, and it helps other people find it.
Yep. It's a good thing. Do we want to cover anything else before we leave? Raj, I know your foot out the door. Your mind's already off wrestling. You're just like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. Raj thinks about wrestling 24 hours a day. I don't care where you go. I guarantee you he does.
I'm gonna be on the site constantly, even though it's a 2.5 week vacation.
Take a break, if not for your sake, for your family's sake.
yeah, we'll see, but it's next week's Raw. It's not looking like there's gonna be that much to talk about.
But there's news every day, though, Glenn. What's he supposed to do? Like, not post news?
Just
it's kind of it's his gimmick.
Turn it over to one of your minions. Have them just take over the feed. It'll all be fine.
Not everybody gets to scoop.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, also next week you won't have a new Raw. It's already taped, and there will be no NXT or no Dynamite next week. So it's going to be a slow week next week. The slowest week we'll see in a long time.
What about rumors and backstage gossip, Raj?
We'll have that. But everyone's off the road, so it's not as much going on.
Oh.
But, yeah.
Is Ryback going on vacation with you, Raj? Are you keeping the bromance going over the holidays?
How do you feel about him bringing Chris Van Vliet in there? He's stealing your heat. Chris Van Vliet is stealing your Ryback heat, dude. Don't let it happen.
He's Chris Van Vliet's good peeps. We've had him guest host the Winkley.
He is. He's mad cool. He's cool as hell, actually.
Yeah.
Very humble too.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool, everyone. Well, we'll be back here Wednesday night to talk about NXT commercial free. It's 2 big title matches. We'll see if they actually happen. And, of course, AEW Dynamite as well. He's at BP Matt Morgan. He's at Rajgiri_303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein on Twitter and everywhere else. And we'll catch you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.